NFL facilities closed indefinitely due to this global pandemic, the 2020 NFL Draft is set to be one we won't soon forget, with John Elway, Vic Fangio, and the entire Broncos staff working together to bolster the Broncos roster, all from their individual virtual war rooms.
Finally, the wait is over, Broncos country. No more mock drafts, no more speculation. The first round of the 2020 NFL Draft is here. Hello, everyone, and welcome into the Broncos Virtual War Room presented by Bud Light. There is no doubt that this is going to be one of the most unique drafts in NFL history. There is no big stage for these players to walk across, no commissioner for them to shake hands with. Instead, 58 NFL hopefuls are sitting at home right now, waiting to hear their names called. The Broncos, as of right now, will call just one name tonight with their 15th overall pick. That's if President of Football Operations and General Manager John Elway doesn't make any draft day trades. Over the last 9 years at the helm, Elway has made at least one draft day trade each year. But how might this virtual draft room format affect the way he approaches the first round? Matt Boyer is live on the line right now with John Elway, hoping to learn the answer. Oh, actually, you guys, hold on 2 seconds. We don't have Mr. Elway quite yet, but we have a huge show coming up for you guys tonight. Tight end Noah Fant will be joining us shortly, as well as James Palmer from the NFL Network. We will also have Melvin Gordon, the newest running back for your Denver Broncos. He will be joining us as well. Can you guys believe it? Quite the lineup, and that is just for this pre-draft show. Coming up after the Broncos make their pick, we will be joined eventually by that pick, John Elway and Vic Fangio and others. So let's go ahead and send it over now to Matt Boyer, who is now joined live by John Elway.
Thank you so much, Alexis. John, I know this is a busy night, so we appreciate your time. How was this final week of preparations with regards to, mock drafts and all of the logistical and technological hurdles that you and your team faced?
It's gone pretty well, actually. I think it's just a matter of kind of getting used to it. Obviously, we're not, it's out of the ordinary for us not being in the draft room where everybody's sitting in the same room. So getting accustomed to talking to people on Zoom and knowing when to talk and when not to talk so everybody can be heard. So I think it was a little bit of an adjustment, but, we've been working on it all week, a lot of mock drafts this week. So it's been good. I think we're pretty comfortable with it.
The rookie learning curve, we've heard a lot about, the guys coming in and how different this offseason could be. How much did that learning curve come into your evaluations of guys this year? Because this offseason could be unlike anything we've ever seen.
Yeah, but I think everybody's dealing with it. So I think what we have to do is we really don't know exactly what the offseason is going to look like. Obviously, it's not what we're going to be used to. It's going to be pushed back, and that's even if we do have an offseason. So, everybody's on the same page there. We've got a new offensive coordinator in Pat Shurmur. So, it's a setback a little bit for us, for the players not to be able to go through that. But again, all these rookies are going to be going through the same situation, and their learning curve is just going to have to be a lot faster, because I think by the time we get back, we're not going to have nearly as much time as we've had to fast.
Based on what you've heard today, how active have trade talks been as they have been in years past? Have you seen any difference in the level of trade talks, or have these technological and logistical hurdles kind of played a role in how much talk you're hearing?
The cell phones still work just fine. So there's been still a lot of talk, and, so the chatter and everything about moving up and down and where to go is pretty much been the same. I think we'll see once we get going how the logisticals work, and if we have the time. Obviously in the first round with 10 minutes, it's going to be a little bit easier than when we get into the third round where we go down to 5 minutes, which is going to be a little bit more challenging. And we'll see how it affects that, going into the third day. But I think that, we'll get through this first day, kind of see how things go on. But as far as talks have gone, they've not slowed down. We'll have to see if there's as many deals as there have been in the past.
Well, we look forward to seeing what happens tonight. John, thank you again for taking some time. We really appreciate it.
You bet it. Thank you.
All right, Alexis, we'll send
Thanks so much, Matt. Well, I, like all of you at home, man, oh man, I am so eager to see what John Elway and company will do tonight under such unique circumstances. But you guys remember this time last year, the Broncos were getting ready to use their 10th overall pick, but then Elway made that move back to 20 to stats up tight end Noah Fant. Denver's 2019 first round pick is now standing by with Matt Boyer. Matt, take it away.
Joined now by Noah Fant. Noah, it's hard to believe that it's barely been a year since you were in Nashville on the stage. Can you believe how much time has passed?
Yeah, I mean, man, it's flown by. It's crazy. It's been crazy, but yeah, man, it's crazy to think back and see that is a year later, and going through the season. So,
what was your big? I guess it's all a blur. I'm sure it was for you last year. What stood out as the biggest memory for you last year during the draft?
Yeah, I would say just walking across the stage was the biggest memory for me. Like, that's that moment where you realize that, man, like my dreams are coming true, becoming a reality, and that was a really cool moment for me. So yeah, I'd say that was the biggest thing for me.
I know it's difficult, but try and put yourself in the position, having already been through a draft yourself. Now put yourself in the position of these rookies going to be sitting at home, an entirely different experience. What do you think they're going to be going through tonight?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's going to be a lot of the same feelings. Obviously, like I was touching on before, they won't get the opportunity to walk across the stage, which is kind of a bummer. But given the circumstances, I think they're still going to have a good time. They're still going to, enjoy that moment with their families that are there with them. And I think they'll still enjoy it. I think the NFL has done a good job of being able to kind of accommodate everybody and everything with the conditions, and I think it'll be good.
What was the biggest takeaway for you from year one? You're no longer a rookie. You're officially a year two guy. What was the biggest takeaway for you in year one? Yeah,
I mean, the biggest takeaway for me was just being able to learn. It's a huge learning curve going into the NFL, especially at my position. There's a lot of things to learn, and that was my biggest takeaway. Was just like I learned so much throughout the year, and was able to grow and get better, and figure things out. So I'd say that was the biggest takeaway for me, just how much I learned and was able to transform my game.
You mentioned the learning curve. These rookies that are coming in, that learning curve is going to be pretty steep because they're not going to have a rookie program similar to the way yours was structured last year. So what's going to be the biggest difficulty in your mind that they're going to face with that learning curve here this offseason?
Yeah, I would say like you were touching on, it's going to be even a bigger learning curve for them, being that they're not going to get the rookie time where it's just the rookies there and they're kind of walking them through step by step how things are going to start to go. So I'd say the biggest thing for them is just going to be, when we do get to come back and when we do get to get back together as a team, they're going to have to really take advantage of every single day and really be locked in every single day to kind of shorten that distance from, where they're at and where all the veterans are at on our team. So I think they'll be able to, handle that though. And that's just going to be one of those things that they'll have to deal with and, get through given the circumstances.
How closely do you follow all of the talk going into the draft? The Broncos could take an offensive guy, defensive guy. How closely do you follow all that stuff?
Yeah, I follow it a little bit. Obviously, being a Bronco, I'm invested, and I can't wait to see, which guy we draft, and those are going to be all our new teammates. So I'm excited. Me personally, I'm biased to have an offensive guy, but being an offensive guy myself, so we'll see what happens. I'm excited for whatever Mr. Elway decides, whichever direction he decides to go with Coach Fangio, and I think they'll do a great job of that.
What advice do you give a rookie coming into the Broncos locker room? You're well versed in it now. What advice do you have for some guy who's going to come in fresh and not really know anybody off the jump? What kind of what's the best way for a Broncos rookie to kind of assimilate into that Broncos locker room?
Yeah, I mean, my biggest advice would just be to be open and vulnerable, and be willing to learn and take it, be a sponge and soak everything in. And you do that, you'll be set up in a good spot. I feel like our locker room has been transforming over the last year, over the last couple of years, and we have a good core of guys in there right now, and good leaders like Bond and guys on the defensive side, and obviously on the offensive side we got Drew, we got Cortland, we got Phillip, signing Melvin. I think we got a lot of good guys, a lot of good good core for our locker room. So.
How are you keeping in touch with your teammates? I know we've talked to a couple guys. Deontay Spencer said there's group chats with position groups. There's, Zoom meetings or Zoom calls. How are you keeping in touch with guys?
Yeah, I would say by text and social media is the biggest thing. I've been able to, keep in touch with the tight ends quite a bit. I've went over to, and stood on the curb of a couple of my tight end's house, and I just talked to them from a distance, just to get some social interaction. But it's been good, though. I mean, just trying to follow all those guidelines of social distancing and staying in quarantine. So there's a lot of ways to, keep in touch with those guys, though. Whose
house were you out in front of, standing on the curb?
Austin Fort. He was one of the guys. I just needed to talk to somebody, and he's at home by himself too. So I went over there and chopped it up with him, and it was a good time.
Oh, that's awesome. That's good. You guys are keeping your social distance. How much are you looking forward to just being back in Denver? You mentioned you're gonna kind of start to get ready for the season, come back to the Mile High City. What are you looking forward to most about being back in Denver?
Yeah, I mean, so I was pumped because I came from California first and went straight back to Denver, and then ended up figuring out that all this stuff was going to shut down. But I'm pumped for it. I mean, I'm super excited. I was looking forward to getting back in on April 20th and getting ready to go. But, like I said before, given the circumstances, that wasn't able to happen. But as soon as we're able to get back in there, I'll be just as excited. And, I love being around those guys, love being around my teammates, and, being around the game of football. So I'm super pumped for it.
Awesome. Well, I know you're going to have your fingers crossed for a couple of Hawkeyes tonight. I know you're going to be watching it closely, but we appreciate you taking some time with us today.
No problem.
All right, Alexis, we will send it back to you.
Man, well, not only did the Broncos get that guy at 20 last year, but trading back from 10 eventually resulted in the Broncos getting Dalton Reisner and the man that they are building this team around, quarterback Drew Lock. I think it's safe to say that things worked out exactly how they were supposed to, right, Matt?
Yeah, not too bad, Alexis. All right, time to give a quick shout out now to our friends from Bud Light for being the proud sponsor of the Broncos Virtual War Room. Don't forget, Broncos Country, as you enjoy the Broncos Virtual War Room, please consider supporting your local Colorado Restaurant Association members and their employees by ordering takeout in this very difficult time. Got to support those local restaurants. Go to budlight.com/open for takeout right now for more information. Go support those local restaurants. All right, we're going to send it back over to Alexis, who is standing by with James Palmer.
Thanks so much, Matt. James Palmer from the NFL Network. Man, oh man, I know you have had a busy day so far, so thanks for taking some time to join us here tonight on our live stream. We appreciate it.
Alexa, how would I not join the hometown Denver Broncos? I mean, I'm right here in Denver, in my basement in Stapleton, getting ready to gear up like everybody else is.
I know. We are so excited that you're able to be here with us tonight. It's a big night for you. It's a big night for the Denver Broncos, who are looking to add some key pieces to that locker room that, like John Elway said at the end of the season, this locker room knows that they can win. They just need to add guys to that locker room. So what are some of the key pieces the Broncos need to come away with?
Well, I'm happy you brought up the locker room part of it, because John is very big on changing the way that they've drafted the last couple of seasons. So if you're interested in thinking a guy you really like might be coming to the Denver Broncos, first thing, check the character side of him. Does he have any red flags in terms of off-the-field issues? Because that might steer the Broncos away a little bit. If he's a great character guy and he has great leadership qualities, those are things Denver's looking for in the last couple of drafts. They went with really potential in the drafts before the last two, where they were looking for just physical freaks. And now they're looking for more leadership qualities, as John Elway said, because of the losing ways lately. They need to bring leadership to this locker room. It's lacking in that room. On the field, in terms of the positions, I think throughout the draft, they need to come away with a corner, which most of the teams I've talked to in this league believe that 1 through 3, you can find yourself a starter. There's some talent all the way down to the 3rd round, which we know the Broncos have 5 picks in the top 100, so that helps. I think offensive tackle is something that you're really looking at. And also, obviously, the wide receiver spot, right? That's another spot that everybody is talking about. But the last two are the biggest ones, right? It's how do you protect the guy with the football and who does he throw the football to? Those are the big ones to me. I just think if you decide to go in the first round with potentially a tackle, maybe moving up or doing something at the 15 spot, don't be upset because there's a much deeper wide receiver class here. The tackle spot after that big four really changes for a long period of time. You can get a guy that can change your offense as a receiver in the second. Might be a little bit tougher to get a guy who's going to come in and start as a tackle in the second or third round.
Well, you're a guy that has a lot of sources and friends around the league. So in air quotes, what are some of the latest rumblings that you've heard about the Denver Broncos and what they might do throughout not only tonight, but maybe the next 3 days?
Well, Alexis, there's always teams that like to move, right? Howie Roseman in Philadelphia loves to move. Thomas Dimitroff with Atlanta loves to move. John Elway likes to move as well. For the last 8 drafts, he did not pick where he was originally slotted. He's either going up or back, but he loves to be aggressive as well. And if there's a couple of guys, and I know that it might be a very select few that he wants to move up for, he's going to do everything he can to see what he can do to get up there. And I do think when people look at the way Elway works, he does have certain things in mind, and you have to be in place of what this is a need and this is a better player. How do we go up and do that? I think some of the rumblings you can look at are see the relationships they have if they do want to go up. Look at 13. That's, the San Francisco 49ers. The Broncos have a tremendous relationship with John Lynch and the 49ers about doing anything. And we know how few picks they have after the first round. They have they're just going to sit on their hands for multiple rounds. So they'd like to move back and get some picks. You also look at the Jets. There's a relationship there who are sitting above the Broncos. It's a relationship with Jacksonville. I just always kind of read the tea leaves in that sense of who have the Broncos done deals with, who do they know really well that they can hammer out a deal, because usually that relationship in the front offices makes these deals a little bit easier to knock out. Those are a couple teams I would keep an eye on as a potential spot to where if John wants to move up, that would be a suitable partner.
Well, we know John's, draft day trade history, but hypothetically, let's just say that he sticks with 15 here tonight. At that time, if the chips kind of fall how we're expecting them to fall, who will be the best player available for the Broncos at that point?
It's really interesting the way the quarterbacks and the tackles are going to change everything. If people are really aggressive and they're going to make moves, then that might slide the way the rest of the draft falls a little bit. But I do think you're going to have a chance for one of the receivers. You might have a chance for Justin Jefferson at 15. You might have Javon Kinlaw at the defensive tackle spot, which most people want to say, oh, we need offense. And they do. I mean, they're near the bottom of the league and everything offensively this past season. And you have the Chiefs in your division, and you need to get faster. You need to put more points on the board. That's why there was a change at OC. That's why Drew Lock is here and why they're looking at receiver. But at the same time, if there's really talented players, say like a Kinlaw and defensive tackle can fall to you, you might have to pull the trigger. I think what happens at 15 is a very interesting spot because there's just enough that happens above you to not really give you an exact knowledge or science of what you're going to be looking at when 15 rolls around.
Okay, we're all excited about draft day here, but why should Broncos country be more excited about the 2020 NFL draft for this team than really any other draft in recent memory?
Well, I think it goes back, Alexis, to the way we started this, right? The philosophy that John Elway and Vic Fangio have, one of the biggest things that I've heard around the league is the relationship between these two is different than John Elway and coaches past. I mean, they really are on the same page about what they're looking for in players. John really respects Vic's opinion. To me, I think that allows you to be a better team drafting. If you look at what they've done the last 2 drafts, the league is well aware of this young Broncos team that is really poised. If the quarterback pans out, that is the biggest aspect. And there's a lot to like about Drew Lock. As John Elway has put everything in the middle of the table for Drew Lock. If this works with him, there's people around the league that are like, that roster is not bad. I mean, and look at the way the defense played towards the end of the season. That also showed a lot of people that these players are figuring out what Vic Fangio wants in them as a defense. And now in year 2, they're all going to have a better understanding of what he wants from them. And the expectation would be that they'd be even a better defense. You have a healthy Bradley Chubb. I think the other part that Broncos fans need to remember is you had a really good free agency class with the Jarrell Casey and A.J. Boye, and then you get Glasgow on the offensive line. You're also getting Jawan James, who was your number 1 free agent target at right tackle last year that only played like 32 snaps. And you're getting Bradley Chubb, who just played a handful of games. in addition to this draft class and addition to this year's free agency class, I think there's a lot to be excited about. And a lot of teams kind of have the Broncos on their radar of, this isn't a team to sleep on. The playoff format has changed. This is a team that can definitely be a playoff contender this season.
Okay, prediction time, and you won't win anything except for all of my respect if you guessed correctly. Who do the Broncos take in the first round, if they pick in the first round?
I think they will pick in the first round, and I wouldn't be surprised if they have 2 picks in the first round. That's maybe a thought. But I'm going to go with – I might as well stick with the guy I've been sticking with the whole time, right? I'm going to stick with
Justin Jefferson.
I mean, I said him on NFL Network like a week ago. I might as well just stick with what I'm thinking. I just, if Henry Ruggs is there, though, I think that might be a better play for them just because he's a better complement to Courtland Sutton than, say, Justin Jefferson. But I kind of have a feeling he's not going to be available. So, I'll stick with receiver because there is a need to get faster and put up more points. And I think a receiver added to this group, smart play.
Smart play. All right. Well, it was a smart play having you joining us here tonight live on the Broncos Virtual War Room. We really appreciate you stopping by. Thank you so much, James. Have a great night.
You can also watch James Palmer of the NFL Network every Monday on Broncos Beat with Alexis Perry. And speaking of great content, the Hall of Famer Steve Atwater got together with a couple of his teammates to relive the 97 and 98 seasons in Super Bowl 32 and Super Bowl 33. So you're going to want to watch for those shows next Saturday and Sunday on the Broncos television app. And speaking of the Hall of Famer, he is standing by with Alexis Perry.
Thanks so much, Matt. Steve, you heard him say it. Hall of Fame safety, Steve Atwater. It has a nice ring to it.
That sounds beautiful. I love it.
Has it really set in yet that you're a Hall of Famer?
You know what? It's been a couple of months now, and it's setting in. With the scenario, the way we have it with coronavirus out and everything, it's kind of put a little bit of a damper on it, but still, I know that I'm in there with the group of great players, great men, great owners, great coaches. So I'm extremely happy, and we'll be good.
Well, we're extremely happy for you and so happy that you were able to join us here live on the Broncos Virtual War Room presented by Bud Light. Steve, you started your Hall of Fame career back in 1989. Broncos, they drafted you in the first round, 20th overall. And similar to the prospects here tonight, you were at home on draft night as well. Why didn't you go to New York?
Well, I wasn't invited. One, they only invite certain people, and I didn't even know if I was going to go in the first round. So I was like, I hope I go in the first day. And when I got the call from the Broncos, I was a very, very happy person. And when I saw that they had traded down with Cleveland, they had the 13th spot originally. They traded down to 20. I thought maybe, but wasn't sure. But it definitely worked out great. But it was pretty cool being able to be there with everyone.
Well, like the prospects tonight, kind of waiting for that phone to ring, you were waiting for your phone to ring at home as well. That big old red phone, I've seen the picture. What's going through the minds of these guys as they're waiting for that phone call?
Well, you're just hoping that the phone rings. And, I've seen numerous people on there waiting, and, the ring doesn't come. And that's the disappointing thing, because you only have, 32 spots in the first round, and, every round 32 spots. But on the first day, only going to be 32 phone calls. And I guarantee you there's at least 64 people out there thinking they're going to get that phone call. And, the ones that get it, they got to make sure that they cherish it. They make the most of this moment. They enjoy it. And I can say at this time for everyone, optimism is at the highest level because, everybody's happy. They finished their college careers up. The teams are happy to get these fresh, great players, but not everyone's going to have that same success at the next level. And that's the unfortunate part. But, who knows who will be the next superstar?
Well, we're hoping that we get a superstar here tonight. Knowing the needs that this team has, how do you think round one will unfold for John Elway and the Denver Broncos?
Well, I'm not sure. I've seen a lot of commentary about what we'll do in the first round. Some say offensive line, some say cornerback, some say wide receiver. And I think we all kind of campaign for what we want. And for me, I'd like to see us take a receiver. And I think that's kind of a neat position because we need another superstar receiver to go beside Cortland Sutton. Not that the guys that we have on the roster behind Cortland are bad players. We just need one more burner on the team. I think that'll do wonders for that offense. But, you never know which way the guys are going to go.
Well, you are a great defensive mind. Who is maybe one defensive player, if the Broncos picked a defensive guy at 15, that you'd be really happy with them taking?
Javon Kinlaw. I mean, if it happened to happen, if just say, like I say, ideally, I like to take a receiver, either Jerry Jeudy from Alabama or Henry Ruggs from Alabama. And so I've heard some rumors that, hey, Henry Ruggs, he may be there in the second round too. But if we could get Jerry Jeudy there, if not one of those receivers, I'd be more than happy to go with Javon Kinlaw. That guy is a monster on the defensive line. And he would go really well with Jarrell Casey, Shelby Harris, Von Miller and Bradley Chubb. Those guys in the back, they would love it.
Yeah, his first step is unbelievable. But you know what's funny? You're a guy that I see around the headquarters. I mean, throughout the entire season, throughout the offseason, you're talking to the players, you're talking to the coaches. I feel like you have a really good sense of the mentality of this team heading into this upcoming season. So what is that mentality, especially when the team finished 4-1 over their last 5 games, and now they have Drew Lock under center?
It's a lot of optimism from the guys in the locker room and from the coaching staff, but we know that there's a lot of hard work to be done. We got to add a few more pieces to the puzzle, but I think everyone feels like they're headed on the right track, and I feel that same way. And we got some really good leaders on both sides of the ball, and guys who are unselfish, who've made plays, and I think it'll be a really good environment for a young, fresh guy to come into and learn from the veterans that we have on this team.
Well, Steve Atwater, thank you so much for joining us here on the Broncos Virtual War Room. We really appreciate it. It's going to be a fun night, right?
Let's do it. Way to go, Alexis. Let's get this first round pick.
All right, let's send it back to Matt.
I can't believe it. That just blows my mind. The future Hall of Famer, not even invited to New York City for the first round of the draft. However, though, it did give us an opportunity. It did give Steve the opportunity to be at home, be in position for those great photos that we love looking back on with Steve and his wife, getting the call from Denver that he was going to become a Denver Bronco. So it wasn't a total loss, but it was cool to see just how far Steve has come from, his wife's apartment to the Hall of Fame. I mean, that's quite the journey.
Yeah, seriously, I think the NFL probably looks back on that and they're like, "Ooh, big mistake, huge." Well, you guys, don't forget that the NFL Draft-a-thon is taking place over the next 3 days. It's a virtual fundraiser that will benefit 6 charities selected by the NFL Foundation that are working vigorously to stop the spread of coronavirus and provide aid to those who need it most. So tonight, while the Broncos are on the clock, we want to try to raise the most money of any single team out there. So all you have to do to participate, text DRAFT to 21000 or go to NFL.com/relief. Now let's go ahead and send it over to Matt Boyer, who is standing by with the newest number 25 for the Denver Broncos. It's running back Melvin Gordon.
Thanks, Alexis, standing by with Melvin Gordon. Melvin, before we get to football, I want to talk just a little bit about something awesome that you did today with the mayor of Denver to help out first responders in the Mile High City. Give me a little bit of the details.
Just donating, donating some, I got some working with Garden of Life and, the mayor Hancock, and just, thought I'd donate, and give back a little bit, at least start somewhere. It's only so much you can do, during this crucial time. But anything helps right now. So
the Broncos have the number 15 overall pick. You were the number 15 overall pick just a couple of years ago. So tell me, what was draft night like for you?
It was a lot of mixed emotions. I think my shock of getting the call got ruined. I was sitting at the table as soon as the the draft opened, somebody called me, and I was like, oh, I can't be going first pick. And it was like soon as the draft opened, like soon as they said draft open, someone called me and was like, oh, you have a nice suit on, you look good on TV. And I was just so pissed because it like took like the thrill out of it. But you know, it was so long sitting back there, even though it was the 15th pick. It felt like an eternity back there, but I was so happy to get the call.
You've already endeared yourself with this donation to the Denver Broncos community, Broncos country at large. But what do you want Broncos fans to know about you as you prepare and you're working towards, you know, game one of the regular season?
Yeah, that I'm coming in, you know, hungry. You know, I want another Super Bowl. And when I said another, I mean for them. You know, Vaughn had brought them a Super Bowl, and you know, previous legends have brought them Super Bowls. And, you know, I want to be a part of something special. You know, all I hear about is the fan base. And man, I just want to come in there and, you know, not say too much, but just come in there and show them that I'm a player that, you know, they're going to be excited to see come Sunday, Mondays, Thursdays, you know, whichever, you know, date, you know, that NFL game bring. I want them to know that, you know, when they buy that ticket and they hit submit on that payment, you know, they're going to see an exciting player that's going to give them everything he got.
Well, I think I can speak for all of Broncos country when I say they can't wait to see the 2-5 running out of the tunnel at Empower Field at Mile High. Melvin, we appreciate you taking some time, and thank you for you know, on behalf of Broncos country, the generous donation to the first responders. That was awesome, man.
Absolutely, man. And thank you for having me. Appreciate you.
Alexis, we will toss it back over to you. It looks like you've got some pretty enthusiastic Broncos fans over there.
Yeah, go Broncos, yeah!
Yeah. How lucky am I to be joined by a few diehard members of Broncos country. You guys, thank you so much for being here on our virtual War Room show presented by Bud Light right before the NFL draft. You guys, I have to get your thoughts. What do you think the Broncos should do with their 15th overall pick? Mike, let's go ahead and start with you.
Well, little Peyton, of course, being the quarterback, would love if Ruggs was there, the wide receiver for Bama at 15, but we don't want to trade up to get him. So we'll stick at 15. If Ruggs is there, we'll grab him. If not, we'll take best available.
All right, Tara looking good in her orange. What do you think?
I agree. I think a wide receiver would be a great addition for any of the Broncos offense. So Ruggs, Judy, Lamb would all be great picks.
Okay, now we have Fernando calling in from Mexico City. I know you have some opinions.
Yeah, of course. First of all, Mexico is Broncos country. So I think we got to go for Jerry Jeudy at 12 or 10th spot. I think the Broncos should trade down for Jerry Jeudy.
Okay, Woody Page did say that was a possibility here tonight. Let's ask the Stevens family calling in from Portland, Oregon.
Yeah, I'm thinking we should add another Simmons to defense. I'm talking about Isaiah Simmons from Clemson. He's a beast, but my son also has a prediction as well.
My mom's an Oregon Duck, so I'm going with Justin Herbert. And John Elway loves tall quarterbacks, so yeah.
I thought we already had a quarterback. Am I right, Roski Rob?
Oh, we do. Drew Lock's the future. And any of those receivers are going to be perfect fit for him. Some O-line help would be great. And as long as they love the orange and blue and love Broncos country, I'm good with it.
I love that. Okay, we have Thomas from Austin, Texas, representing the South. What do you think, Thomas?
Broncos Nation is far and wide. We're feeling confident, excited to see some sports again. In Elway, we trust. Get us a receiver, a lineman, something, and get us to another Super Bowl.
All right, Denver Dean 13, last one. What do you think?
I'm all in on Jerry Jeudy, baby.
Ooh, he threw baby out there. Like, he's strong. He's serious with that. You guys, thank you so much for being here. I just want to know, how loud are you guys going to get when the Broncos are on the clock tonight?
Broncos, baby.
That'll do it for us, Broncos country. For right now, make sure to come on back when the Broncos make their selection. We'll have Cortland Sutton joining us to give his analysis for the pick. But for now, we say goodbye.